Guys, do you only got about 450 bucks to spend and you're scared of buying used parts, so you want to go all new? Well, in today's video, we got you covered.
For 450 bucks, we built an awesome all new parts gaming PC with a graphics card, and to be honest, it's quite difficult to make that happen. And today's video sponsor, ClickUp, is the absolute perfect service for us as a content creation team to work together and organize our ideas for planning this $450 PC.
With ClickUp, you can ditch the use of multiple different to-do apps and have them all in one platform for project planning. With us being a team here at Toasty Bros HQ, we can assign different tasks for different projects with ease and track their progress as they are completed.
When it comes to organizing a PC build project, ClickUp allows us to easily create workflows specifically tailored to each build, from the processor and GPU to even the smallest screws, ensuring nothing gets overlooked. By setting up custom statuses like parts ordered, building in progress, and testing, we can follow the entire build process step by step. For each component, we can even attach spec sheets or vendor links, making it easy for everyone involved to know all the crucial details.
I love the whiteboard space for collaborating on a video storyboard to make sure our team is all on the same page. From scripting and shooting to post-production, the flexibility to manage both complex builds and creative workflows in the same app is what makes ClickUp invaluable for us.
Whether you're working for a team like here at Toasty Bros HQ, or you're just somebody who wants to be more organized in your life, definitely try ClickUp by using the link in the description down below. You can try it for free today and use our special link down below to know we sent you there. So shout out again to ClickUp for sponsoring this PC build. This is gonna be a step-by-step build guide, guys. We're gonna show you guys step-by-step how to build this PC, but first we gotta tell you what makes up this $450 all new parts gaming PC.
Alright guys, so we're going to do a full breakdown of the parts for 450 bucks all new. So we're going to start off with the Ryzen 5 4500. This is such a good price to performance CPU because it's a Ryzen 5, so it's a 6-core 12-thread. And coming in at $69, it is some insane value because that's something like a 10th Gen i3, but I would definitely take this because 6-core 12-thread. The only sacrifice is it does not have Gen 4 support, so just keep that in mind for future proofing if you want to get like a Gen 4 drive or a really high-end GPU. And the best part about this CPU is it comes with a stock cooler with thermal paste pre-applied. Coming in at $52, the ASRock B450m HDV revision 4, because the first three did not work out. But this is an awesome board because $52, this board just literally keeps dropping in price every time we use it, and it is very basic. That's really the main downside, is you only get one CPU 4-pin, you only get 2 RAM slots, and honestly like no VRM covers or anything. But for a build like this, it's gonna be great, and it does have a little bit of an upgrade path because you can go to 5000 series just fine. For $27, we have Silicon Power Value DDR4 16 gigs. This is 2x8, so you're gonna get dual channel, and 3200 megahertz for 27 bucks is pretty insane. So RAM's definitely dropping. You can get RGB if you want to spend a little extra. And coming in at $28, the Fanxiang 512 gig NVMe M.2 SSD. This is the S500, and we found that the King spec, the Fanxiang, and a few other brands that are new to the market are actually a little bit quicker supposedly than some of the name brands that we see for the same price. And we can back up those fast claims because it has a read speed of 3200 megabytes per second and a write speed of 2800 megabytes per second.
Now for the graphics card, and don't get scared guys or upset and go to the comments right away. This is the RTX 3056 gig, and if you want to know the options at this price point, you either got the 3056 gig, maybe find a 1650, or you're looking at those no-name brand RX 5500 XTs on Amazon right now, or an RX 6400, and between all those options for all new, this is the best option. Now yes, you can obviously go used if you want to, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is all new parts. If you go used, obviously you'll get some good price performance, but for this build, the 3056 gig makes a lot of sense. Now for the power supply. I mean, is it really any other power supply here at Toasty Bros or PC Bros? Buy a PC today, use code Toasty Bros to save 3%. Segotep 650 watt, GN 650 watt. 650 watts is honestly kind of overkill for this build, but when it comes in at $49 new on Amazon, sometimes 45 bucks, you find it on sale, it's really hard not to get this for extra upgrade room in the future. Now again, $450 all new parts build, we had to go with a more budget case because we wanted to get the maximum performance out of our PC hardware, and we went with the Q300L, which we actually got in white for $37. The Q300L is a pretty basic case. It has acrylic around here, no power supply basement. All in all, it's not an amazing case, but it's micro ATX, so house what we need. It has one fan for exhaust. Really, that's all you need with this pretty low power build. You can add another one if you want to and spend a little bit more money. But all in all, for a $450 after tax, all new parts PC, if you don't count tax, so you actually only be spending $417, which is actually pretty dang cheap. We're gonna show you guys step by step how to build this PC. If you wanna follow along at home, we're gonna set up the motherboard, we're gonna set up the case, put the power supply in, put everything together, run the cables, and boom, you'll be ready to go to play games on this PC for 450 bucks. You don't have to worry about buying used. Let's go ahead and dive into the guide.
All right, guys, we're gonna install the Ryzen 5 4500. Now keep in mind, this is AM4, so we got pins in the CPU. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come down here to the latch, we're gonna open it up, and you're gonna notice that there is a tiny little arrow on the CPU here, and then ever so slightly tinier arrow on the CPU socket. So what we're gonna do is just gently place it down, and you'll notice it's not in. So I basically just kind of nudged it. You don't want to put any down force on it because that's how you're gonna bend pins, but we're seated, we're good to go. Relatch the system, and boom, we get the CPU installed. And we'll come back to the cooler. I think we should go ahead and do the RAM so that you guys can kind of see everything a little better. So for the RAM, this motherboard only opens on one side. So if you notice, these don't open, just these. So how I usually like to install RAM, for one, I like to install it the right way. It does have a notch, so you can only put it in one way. So I like to get the side down first that doesn't latch. So I'm gonna put a little more pressure on the right, or I guess the left side. Just like that. Show you guys again on the second slot. There we go, we got the RAM installed. And if you have a board that has 4 slots, it's typically gonna be number 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, depending on who you ask, but that's gonna be the furthest away from the CPU for number 1. For the SSD, they give us our own little screwdriver. You know what, we're gonna use it. We're gonna see how good or bad it is. So we got our M.2 screw, which I really appreciate because some boards don't always come with these, especially if you like a used board. So we're gonna take our NVMe. Once again, just like the RAM, it's keyed. It can only go in one way. And it's gonna go in kind of crooked like this. You don't need to install it straight. So then you're gonna kind of push down, make sure that stays seated. This screwdriver is already horrible. I can just tell you all that. You almost kind of have to like get the screw on first. And you're gonna just barely get this thing tightened down. That's kind of the reason they give you the world's smallest screwdriver. They don't want you to just over tighten this and break the screw off. So at that point, NVMe, RAM, CPU's installed. Now we need to install our CPU cooler. So if you get a tower cooler or a liquid cooler, it's gonna be a little more complicated than this, but this is pretty simple. All we have to do is remove AMD's stock brackets, which is included with every motherboard. You are gonna keep that back plate though. All right. So let's take that CPU cooler, and we're gonna face the logo this way, just because normally with a motherboard there's like 4 RAM slots, that little logo will hit the RAM. Now a little tip tube that I haven't talked about in a while, but you can flip this cooler by taking off these 4 screws, and then there's screws in the back side too. But yeah, you know, you guys know how it is. Times are tough. And then I like to do opposing corners for the screws, so you'll notice I'm not just screwing one end down all the way. I usually do about halfway, and then I'll go ahead and do it the rest of the way like that. So then we get nice even thermal paste spread. We don't put too much pressure on one corner of the CPU. All right, and then we're gonna take this. It's our CPU fan header. You'll notice too, I didn't really talk about that. I ran the cable underneath the CPU because I think it makes a cleaner build, but make sure that it's loose, because if it's like tight, that probably means that you've pinched the CPU cooler and the CPU on the cable. So then I'm gonna take this, and I bet you I can kind of get this hidden a little bit. Actually, it's not quite gonna fit. I think, you know what, I think it looks pretty good. Oh yeah, there we go. We got a completed motherboard assembly, and at this point, I'm gonna have Matt come in and show you guys a couple things to do on the case, and then we're ready to put this in.
All right, guys, it is now time to get the power supply in the case. And we prep the case by taking all the side panels off. The front panels, take these 4 screws off. Back panels, they're these little like rested screws, because actually this case is designed, if you wanted to, you could lay it down. You can do it with any case really. But with that one, it does come with the screws for you to be able to do that. But hey, we'll go ahead and take our power supply out and get it installed in the case. Jonah has requested that I put a PC Bros vinyl on the power supply because there is no power supply basement. That's cool, that's fine with me, whatever. It is pretty easy to actually take off the sticker on this power supply. I've done it a couple times before. Smoothest removal ever. PCBros.tech. There you go, baby. Buy PC at PC Bros. This one's gonna have it. But hey, we're gonna take our power supply that is now PC Bros branded, and we're gonna install it in the basement here. Be sure to remove this little twist tab like so. So what you need to do is remove these 4 screws first, and you'll take out this basically bracket that will go on the back of the power supply for you then to install the bracket to the power supply and then install it in the case. It's gonna be a fun time. So remove these 4 screws. Now you're gonna take this bracket and you're going to line it up like so. And as you can see here, it's actually pretty easy for Jonah to see. There are 4 screws that need to be screwed in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna go ahead, and in our power supply box, we got a little baggie with, not that one, we got a little baggie with 4 coarse threaded screws, which you wanna use coarse threaded power supply screws. I'll show you guys what this looks like for those who are building their first PC. Are coarse threaded power supply screws. They have this little cap on the top, and they're coarse threaded. So we'll go ahead and take our screwdriver and go ahead and screw in this bracket, and then we should be able to slide the power supply back in, fan side facing down, and then screw it back in with the screws that we used to take the bracket off the case. Okay, got the screw right here. All right, so now that we got this bracket installed, we're gonna take the power supply, slide it back in like so. And as you can see, those screw holes line back up. We'll go ahead and take the coarse threaded screws that we used before. So now we have the power supply installed. Wow, look at that. Wow. PC Bros branded. It looks mwah, a little better now. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and lay this down, and we're going to install our I/O shield. Also, we're going to raise the table for our cameraman and move this side pin out of the way so I don't lose it. So this right here is the I/O shield, which is very important if you don't want to get made fun of in the PC Master Race subreddit when you post your build. Put the I/O shield in. Just do it. Best way to know how to install the I/O shield is normally these are the audio ports. You want to go this way into the I/O shield. You see this right here? You see it, Jonah? Yeah. See it? Okay. We're gonna line it up. We're gonna push it in. It can be quite difficult sometimes, but make sure you push in all 4 corners. And boom, just like that, we're good to go. Now we're gonna do a test drop of the motherboard. I remember this case being very, I can already see, limited on the installed standoffs, which are what you screw the motherboard into the case with. So we're going to go ahead and drop it in to figure out which ones we need to add. We are dealing with a lot here. So we gotta add 1, 2, 3. Oh God. And I don't think there's a spot for those right there. So it's gonna be 1, 2, and 3, so 3. So we're gonna do that. Honestly, again, if you wanna be a menace to society, you don't have to, but I would recommend doing it just because, you know, I'm gonna make sure your board is nice and secure. But we'll go ahead and take this, which it comes with the standoff tool and a hair. Hold up, where did that come from? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take the standoff tool, which basically goes onto your Phillips head screwdriver. You take this little standoff, and then you screw it in where you want it. Try to get it to thread in. So we got that right there. There's one. I feel like there's like no threading on this, so this one might not get it. God, it actually kind of hurt my arm. All right, there we go. And this is the last one we're going to go ahead and install. A little bit of force required, but once we do, boom, it's good to go. We're gonna go ahead and install this thing. Make sure this cable from the fan stays out of the way and doesn't get pinched in the I/O, because that can be quite annoying. It'll block your USB port. As you can see, everything is lined up nicely here. And we have access to all the screw holes that we need to screw in this motherboard. So we're gonna go ahead and take the screws that it came with, which one funny thing, and normally I would say, here's the fine thread screw, here's the coarse thread screw. This build uses coarse threaded screws for the motherboard, which are the exact same ones as the power supply screws. So it makes it really easy. One screw for this entire build, baby. So we'll go ahead and screw in this motherboard, and then we'll be ready to do some cable routing. Put that one in. Just like that, we have the motherboard installed. You can go ahead and lift her up like so. One thing that we will do, again, with no basement here, we are gonna have to feed the cables all the way through. So go ahead and take this spaghetti monster full of cables and run it through this one cutout, because that's the best you can do here, ladies and gentlemen. But we'll go ahead and feed all this through, and then we'll show you guys how to plug it up, and Jackson will show you some basic cable management you can do to make this build look nice. It will require a little bit more zip tie action though, because again, no power supply basement. But if you guys want to opt a little bit more for a higher end case, we'll see some recommendations would be the Aqua 3. Those options would make this build probably about $10 to $15 more expensive, especially if you live in a state with no sales tax. You're at $417, you want to stick to $450, you can get a better case. But yeah, there's a lot of options to go with, but for $450 in our situation, this one was probably the best option that wasn't the TGD Gamer, because yeah, we all know about that bad boy. So I'll go ahead and feed these cables through. Let's bring Jackson in here, and we're going to go ahead and start plugging things in. All right, guys, well, before we go ahead and plug in the rest of the cables, I kind of thought about it, and as you can see, this fan back here, well, you can kind of see it in this point of view, this fan back here has a pretty short fan cable we already fed through. I'm gonna take that back because there's a fan header in the middle of the board, which normally I wouldn't use, but in this use case, it'll actually make sense. This right here is the fan header. You see it right here. We're gonna go ahead and plug in our fan like so. Oh man, our lights are rocking, guys. I'll have to move that somewhere else. But as you can see, it's looking a little ugly right now. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're going to tuck this right here.
We're gonna make it unugly.
Like that, just like so. We'll tuck it. We'll probably get a zip tie at some point too when we're doing cable management to make it look a little nicer, because it keeps wanting to come back. We'll probably zip tie it to the side of the fan, but again, this is all cosmetic, so don't worry too much about it.
Now I think for actually plugging in the first cable, I think the 24 pin is always gonna be a good candidate. That's your main power coming off your power supply. You can't miss it. It's a massive connector. Do we want to go?
Yeah, right there is fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're not going to go behind the board for this one. We're going straight through.
And here you go. You see the 24 pin. Go ahead and line it up with the motherboard 24 pin right there, and boom, push in like so. This one's not too far compared to others, but we might for some of this. I'm going to go ahead and remove a couple of screws. I'll show you guys on camera here. These two screws right here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove just in case we need to run stuff behind the board. Again, purely cosmetic, but here at the Toast Rails, we try to make our builds, even on a budget, look really nice.
So next up, we're going to be sitting through our CPU power. Now, most power supplies, this is gonna be a 4+4 pin. Matt is only gonna need one of them, but I'll keep them together just in case he wants to kind of make it pretty.
And when Jackson says make it pretty, we're just not gonna separate it. We're just gonna figure out which side it needs, which it appears it is going to be the right side, and we'll go ahead and plug it in like so. So you're only plugging 4 pins, but the 8 pin will stay together, and you could trick your friends into thinking you have a full 8 pin for your build.
All right, so yeah, our 3050 isn't gonna need any external power. So that's it for the power supply. Wow. Next up, this is basically all we have left. We have USB 3, front panel, and HD audio. I think we should do the front panel. So that's gonna be these little guys here. They're basically, let's see, what all do we have? We have power switch, reset switch, hard drive LED, and power plus and minus, like literally the full scale. Do you want me just to go through like here?
Yeah, that's fine. It really doesn't look much cleaner going behind the board. As you see, here comes the front panel, and here's where the front panel is plugged in. Mikhail's will have a diagram on screen here, but we're gonna start with the hard drive LED in the bottom left. Right above that, we're gonna do the 2 power LEDs, positive and negative. And then next to the hard drive LED, we're gonna put the reset switch. Boom, easy peasy, feed that back through, and we're good to go.
Go ahead and do the HD audio now. So that's gonna look like a USB 2 header, which funny enough, this case being older does not have USB 2. But HD audio is gonna look very similar. It's missing a notch kind of towards the middle. So let's go ahead and take that. We'll do it, you get a tiny little cutout there.
Perfecto, we'll go ahead and take it. Make sure to line up the missing pin and push in. And just like that, your HD audio is in and ready to go.
All right, and then the last thing is this USB 3 connector. This one's actually all black. Normally this part will be blue, but we're gonna take that.
So I'll go ahead and for the USB 3, we'll go ahead and remove this top screw as well, which I can use a screwdriver because LTC screwdriver too thick. Guys, if you wanna make it simple, you could just run it through this cutout right here, but we're gonna make it look a little bit cleaner.
We like to make it not simple.
Oh,
there it is.
There it is.
I think it was on a nub.
All right, so we're gonna pull that out of the way.
Yeah, like the whole back panel was moving.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't give you a whole lot.
Okay, we're going ahead and flip it like so.
I can get you like a little more.
There's like a little bit. Okay, that's it.
That is it.
That's it.
That's all I need. No more to give.
So go ahead and flip her like so. Line it up. Be very careful not to bend the pins, and boom, push in, and you're good to go. Just looks a little bit cleaner. And I'm gonna go ahead and screw the board the rest of the way back down.
You know, and I will say, this is like, well, it's a really budget build, but this is a case where having fully modular would be pretty nice.
Yes.
Because we have so many extra cables.
All right, guys, here's the graphics card. 3056 gig. Once again, Jackson mentioned, does not require external power, so that's gonna work out fine for us. We're gonna go ahead and check and see where this needs to line up. As you can see here, just by doing a little test fit, it's gonna be these 2 covers right here. But first, we gotta remove this little cover, the cover to reach the cover. Once again, another power supply screw. That's the theme of this build. Everything uses power supply screws, so you won't get confused. It's 1 screw for everything. And we're gonna go ahead and pop, potentially, these out. These ones are a little bit tougher. Make sure you're not scraping your motherboard. Watch the short on that if you haven't done so already. Wiggle back and forth. Boom, good there. And boom, there you go, ready to install. We're gonna go ahead and take our graphics card, remove this PCI cover right here to reveal the golden finger. And then we're gonna go ahead and line it up with this PCI slot. Make sure this is pushed down. That's a lock that allows you to install your graphics card. Line her up like so, and push. And just like that, you're good to go. Now what you're gonna go ahead and do, and this is the one thing I don't really like about this case, is you're going to need to take the cover and put the cover back on first, like so. Go ahead and screw the cover back on. And then you're going to take power supply screws and screw over top of the cover. So go ahead and put that screw in right there. And then we'll go ahead and put this screw in like so. And now your GPU is installed, and now all that you have to do, technically the build's ready to turn on and see if it works, but we gotta get some cable management done, make the build look a little cleaner in the back. But as you can see, $450 after tax or less. It's looking pretty solid so far. Let's get the cable management done, and then we'll be ready to play some games.
All right, guys, it's time for cable management. Now, in this case, it won't be too bad because we have a pretty deep back panel area. So I'm probably going to start off, I think we should go ahead and address this first, this massive bunch of cables. So luckily, like I said, since it's pretty deep, I think we can kind of bundle these together. We might have to go a little loose on the bundle at first, and then almost kind of get it behind the board. Yeah, so I'm thinking And it's probably hard to see, but there's little basically cable management clips kind of in the back here. So I'm trying to get my finger back there. All right, so we're gonna take that. We're gonna wrap it around here. This almost needs 2 zip ties. All right, there we go. We got that zip tie started. Now we're gonna see if we can even get this behind here. Okay, sorta. All right, I think that's gonna be pretty close. We're gonna come back to that though. I'm gonna make the rest of it look good, and then we'll figure out if the back panel is gonna actually close or not. So I usually like to just go from top to bottom. So basically we're getting that CPU and 24-pin cable organized. And then we'll kind of run these together here. You will be able to see it from the front, but we don't really have any extra slack with that USB 3 being so tight behind the board. So we're just gonna have to make it look the best we can. All right, now let's go ahead and go through and snip these with the flush cuts. And then we're gonna see if we can actually get the side panel on without having like a major bulge. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now we don't have like a bulge from the side panel. So go ahead and let's try to see if this thing turns on and looks good.
All right, guys, we now have her plugged up and ready to go. Can you hit the power button for me?
Power button on.
There it is, guys. Again, nothing crazy, no RGB or anything like that, but for the budget we're aiming at for all new parts, it's working out just fine. We're gonna get Windows installed. We're gonna play some games on it, play some of the latest games, see what the performance is like. But hey, all new parts built, went together really easy. Hopefully you guys had no problems at home. Let's get to gaming.
All right, guys, we are playing the brand new Black Ops, so Black Ops 6, and we're currently set to full screen exclusive 1080p, balanced presets.
It's not DLSS.
Yeah, that's not DLSS. Oh no.
DLSS set to balanced.
Try balance and we'll see what happens. There we go. All right, so we're getting around, looks like 70 to 90 FPS with a little bit of latency. Nothing too serious, but you know, keep in mind, this is a brand new AAA title. And the fact that we're running this on a PC this cheap with no new parts is pretty cool.
Can we get some kills? Oh!
I would be just fine on this setup. I really like this little. Oh, why do I have my pistol out?
It doesn't matter.
And why is it so good?
I just
hit the deck. Hit the deck. Oh, dude, the omnidirectional, like I can't stop moving.
Oh! He's on a heater.
I can't stop. I hate using this thing. I kill myself with it like every time.
This map is not hit for it. Whoa!
I kind of like no matter how much I dragged, it just did not turn.
Why are the grenade kills so easy?
I made the comment, I said this game reminds me of Halo. There's a lot of grenades and they do a lot of damage, and honestly, I'm cool with it. Oh. Aim assist. Now what's I playing? See, I play this game at home in a 4070. You know, this game definitely can look really good, and it doesn't look bad in the 3050, but that is like the one downside. You know, spending this little on a new AAA title, you are going to sacrifice performance just a little bit. Backwards dive.
Into the enemy.
Wow.
What is this pistol?
I think he was getting shot by someone else, I hope. I was gonna hit that.
That would have been wild.
All right, well, Call of Duty 2028, light work, but let's go ahead and go on to the next game.
Next game. Okay, guys, we're in Fortnite. Very spooky. Unlimited frame rate, DX11, far reduced and slow texture is currently what we are running, and yeah, we'll go and drop into restored reels. Kind of my go-to location nowadays, but yeah, be curious to see what the performance is like. Obviously, first drop, gonna have a little bit of stutter and stuff loading in. Happens in Fortnite. I mean, look at that. Look at it, it's trying. It's trying real hard. Yeah, obviously, all new parts. We talked about at the beginning of the video, talk about it more at the end of the video. Going used, or even spending $50 more will get you a good amount of performance. When you're at this lower budget range, especially if you're trying to save every single dollar you can, even spending $50 more will get you a better GPU. But for the target price of $450 less after tax, I think this is pretty solid. It's kind of going to be your best option unless you want to go AMD with like an RX 6400 or one of those aftermarket cards, the 5500 XC, which we have done before. This is probably your best option. You just have to set your expectations right. If this is what you're looking for, esports titles, you don't feel like buying used.
I like the side pump.
Oh
my god, that guy turned into a laser.
I was like, what happened there? I just heard him like pop in a shield, and I was like, this is my moment. That worked.
It's back turned.
Oh!
Ooh.
Oh ho ho! Really? You're actually gonna fight this? What a game. But yeah, performance, kind of what I expected from a PC like this. Obviously, it's not gonna be the best for higher end games, which we are gonna test here in just a second, run some built-in benchmarks for that. I think it's still serviceable for all new parts where you get the manufacturer's warranty, you don't have to worry about buying used and stuff dying on you. And for 450 bucks, normally you wouldn't get a graphics card, but in this case, we got a GPU with a very slight, modest upgrade path. So let's go ahead and run some built-in benchmarks, really stress this thing to its limits, see what the limits are. And from there, we will talk more about the value proposition and other options you can go if you want to buy used, because used is always gonna be the king of price performance. But buying new is actually not that bad.
All right, gamers, we just got done benchmarking a really cheap gaming PC with all new parts, and I'm actually pretty happy to say that this one turned out really good. You know, we like the RTX 3050 6GB. We know that not everybody does, but for the right use case, it's a great card.
And yeah, we really think the 3056 gig was the best option for a $450 all new parts PC, but let us know down below if you guys think differently. But in terms of the other benchmarks we ran Cyberpunk at 1080p medium settings with no upscaling, and we almost got 60 FPS, a 51 FPS average with a minimum of 43 and a max of 60. And with Black Myth Wukong at 1080p low settings using DLSS, we actually averaged 69 FPS, nice, a max of 88 and a minimum of 52. And lastly, our 30 mark score was only 4,958, which at the $450 price point is a 9 cent per point score, which is kind of what we expected. Again, we're not telling you guys that all new parts is going to be the best price performance option. We always preach used builds, and our build that we built for like $300 recently with the 3500 and a slightly higher GPU with the 2060 would perform better than this system overall, but that's using used parts and going to places like AliExpress that not a lot of people want to use. So if you want to build this all new parts yourself, this is what the performance is like, and I think it's pretty solid. But if you guys want to build this gaming PC yourself, check the links in the description down below. They will be affiliate links, they will help us out, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this build guide on how to build an awesome all new parts PC.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
All right, you demons, go check out PCBros.tech. Leave nice comments down below, please.
Yeah, be nice. It's the $450 all new parts PC. I don't know what you want from us, but PC Bros has awesome PCs. If you don't want to build this yourself and you want to buy it pre-built with a 1-year warranty, just go Toasty Bros on checkout. You'll save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Bye.